Nolan was a 12-year-old boy living in a quiet suburban neighborhood. He wasn't the top student in his class, not the fastest player on the soccer team, and never raised his hand before the teacher called on someone. Nolan called himself average, but deep down, he always felt behind. One lazy summer afternoon, Nolan was sitting on the old wooden swing in his grandfather's backyard, the place he often visited on weekends. He had just finished reading the children's book his teacher assigned, The Tortoise and the Hare. Flipping to the last page, he snorted. "I don't buy that the turtle won," he muttered, tossing the book onto the bench. His grandfather, a silver-haired man with a deep voice and eyes that looked like they had seen the whole world, was nearby trimming the tomato plants. He turned, wiped his hands on his pants, and sat beside Nolan. "You don't believe the turtle won, huh?" he asked, half smiling. "Nope. If that race were real, there's no way the rabbit would lose. It's faster, stronger, and has better reflexes. The turtle's just too slow." His grandfather nodded. "Yeah, if you're only looking at speed, then sure, the rabbit wins." "Then why do people keep telling this story over and over?" Nolan frowned. "I don't get the point." His grandfather smiled. "The point isn't about who's faster. It's about what you choose to believe about yourself when you hear the story. Let me tell you a different version." Nolan looked up with interest, and the story began. "Let's say," his grandfather said, "you and I make a little bet. Not to win money, just to learn something about life. There's a race between a turtle and a rabbit, not on paper, a real one, through rivers, swamps, lakes, an entire lifetime's journey. They both start at the same time, and you have to bet on one. Who do you choose?" "The rabbit," Nolan answered quickly. "You sure? The course stretches across a whole lifetime." Nolan hesitated. "But the rabbit's still faster." His grandfather raised an eyebrow. "What if they hit a river? Can the rabbit swim?" "No, but..." "What about when it gets freezing cold at night? Which one survives better?" "Probably the turtle. And if the goal isn't who finishes first, but who goes the farthest, who lives the longest, who can turn around when they take a wrong turn, who can protect themselves from danger, who do you pick?" Nolan grew quiet. His grandfather looked him in the eye. "See, if you only judge by the obvious, like speed, then the rabbit wins. But if you look at the full journey of life, sometimes the things people overlook turn out to be real strengths. There's a kind of tragedy," he continued, "when the turtle thinks it's losing, because it keeps comparing itself to someone else's strength. Speed. But it never realizes it lives 10 times longer than the rabbit. It doesn't need to win in 10 years. It can keep going for 100. So if I'm the turtle, then being slow isn't really a problem?" Nolan asked, and for the first time, he didn't feel insulted being compared to a slow animal. "Exactly. As long as you keep moving, as long as you don't stop." He held out his palm. "This is what most people don't understand. Success doesn't come from talent alone. It comes from using what you do have, even if it's small, and staying in the race." "I don't think I have any strengths," Nolan said. "I'm not quick like Ethan, not creative like Lila, and definitely not good at math like Ryan." His grandfather chuckled. "Nolan, you have something more valuable than all of them combined." "What is it?" "Perseverance. Time is the one gift you can't buy." "Sounds like something an old man would say, huh?" He laughed. "But I mean it. I'd give anything to have time like you do now. You've got whole days to learn, think, draw, play, figure out what you love. But all I do is play video games. That's your choice. Like the turtle, you can crawl forward or you can stay tucked in your shell all day. The rabbit, it sprints, then stops. But if you move a little every day, you'll go farther than the ones who race fast but burn out early." "I never thought of it like that. Remember when you spent a whole week building that dinosaur model?" Nolan gave a shy smile. "Yeah, but I didn't win anything." "That doesn't matter. What matters is you stuck with it. That's a rare skill most people don't know they have. The world doesn't lack talented people, it lacks persistent ones." That day, Nolan didn't say much. He just stared quietly as the sky shifted colors. But something inside him changed in the weeks that followed. He started journaling, not fancy writing, just consistently. He rebuilt the dinosaur model, not for a prize, just because he wanted to finish it. He asked his mom to sign him up for the robotics club, even though he didn't know anything about electronics. But he stayed after meetings, took notes, asked questions, learned bit by bit. 2 years later, Nolan won the School Innovation Award. 5 years later, he got into a top engineering college to study sustainable technology. 10 years later, he launched a startup for amphibious electric vehicles, inspired by turtles. In a world where social media makes us only see the rabbits, the fast, the flashy, the successful, it's easy for a turtle to feel like they're falling behind. But the lesson isn't about running fast. It's about not quitting. It's about knowing what you have and using it in the race you're meant to run. If you're someone who's steady, quiet, and often overlooked, remember, life doesn't reward the fastest. It rewards those who finish. And sometimes, the people who seem like they're losing early on are the ones who go farthest because they understand something others don't. Your strength isn't what the world notices. It's what you never give up on. I hope you found this story helpful. If you enjoyed today's story, be sure to hit the like button. It might seem like a small thing, but because of how the YouTube algorithm works, videos with more likes tend to get shown to more people. So your like really helps this video reach others who might need it too. And if you find my content valuable, consider subscribing. It really helps more people discover it. Thanks for watching, and I wish you and your family good health and peace. See you in the next story.